Alright, it's another episode of Faith on the Street, the Grief and Faith series. I already told you that we're basically laying our spotlight on persons who have gone through this journey, or who are still in the journey of grief. You know, the pain of losing a loved one is something indescribable, honestly, and it takes one in it to know. So today again, I have somebody with me who is ready to share her story with us, and I sincerely appreciate her. Hello.
Hello.
How are you doing this morning?
I'm alright.
Okay. First of all, I am Amanda Elu, and this is Faith on the Street, and today I am with
Chidera.
All right. Chidera, I'm going to start by asking you to... In fact, I'm going to say thank you first for letting yourself do this for us. And I'm going to ask you at this point to share with us one or two stories. I don't know how many persons you've lost or you're willing to share with us, but that one you want to share, or those ones you want to share, maybe just give us heads on how it happened.
Well, the first was a gradual progression. I knew, you're taking care of somebody who is really ill, and you know this person is going to die. But then for me, it was like fighting that reality till it finally happened. It was easier for me to process. That is the first one. It was easier for me to process because, you saw it coming. But then the second one was, the most recent was the worst of it. Somebody tells you they're going to the market. And then next thing you hear, they're in a car crash and they're burnt beyond recognition. The only things that could be salvaged were her bones. And the horrible thing about this kind of death, and for the fact that you are not biologically related to this person, is you can't grieve as much as you want to. And in public, I had to, keep him, there's this
A certain demeanor.
Thank you, a certain demeanor. I wrote a piece about it, and in that piece I remember saying that I had to force a foot of steel into my spine. At her burial, I was there consoling other people. I wanted to cry. I wanted to roll on the ground. I wanted to tell people I actually feel this way, but then it wasn't possible. Because then, and then the horrible thing, not really horrible, but it's a bit unsettling about grief culture here, at least my experience so far, is how quick people are to tell you, don't cry, you have to be strong. I'm I do not want to be strong, I want to cry. I just lost somebody. So with regards to faith,
I'll come to that. I'll come to the faith aspect, because you just mentioned two people. I don't know, maybe you do not want to disclose their identity or something. Yeah, okay, but at least maybe their relationship with you, if you can do that, we would love it. Because if it's in the heart and you're not so close to this person, but you're not biologically related to this person, so what was this person to you? Because there's someone watching this who has lost someone who is not related to them, and they understand this.
So I don't know, calling someone a benefactor sounds, it sounds like the relationship was exploitative, but I would describe her as somebody who took an interest in me after I lost my father. People who see you're trying. I did well in school, so they picked interest in me, they wanted to know more, and then she was all out for me. Did things for me that, other members of my extended family couldn't do. She was there for me, the good, the bad, the ugly, and she was one person that no matter how much she loved me, she would when I misbehave, she'd be like, come here, you're misbehaving, just cut it out. This is not going to work. So, and when you have somebody like that, and most of the time throughout our relationship, I would ask myself, what did I do to deserve this kind of love? What did I do? Because I didn't see myself as worthy of what she was giving me. And then, when I graduated from school, after my convocation, when our results were announced, she was the very first person I called after my mother. Because I wanted to share it with her. You have been instrumental to this success. And then my convocation, she was there. And then imagine less than a month after that, the whole world comes hurtling down. I heard the news. I ran out of my room, my nightwear. I don't even know how I got to my friends. So I don't know. It's just, and when you're not biologically related to somebody who's just been there, who has been like a mother, like a father to you. You don't know how to grieve in the presence of people, and sometimes when you grieve, you feel like it's not enough. Because I still feel like that. Like my grieving is not enough. When I tried smiling the first time after the news of her death, I would be like, why are you even smiling?
Do you have the right
to? Do you have the right to? So it's one of these many things. But she was like a parent to me. Yeah. And the death was harder to process because of how sudden it was.
Okay. So I'm guessing we're going to focus on the second death because I feel like it hit you harder than the first, yeah?
Not necessarily. Both deaths hit me the same. But the thing with time is that it helps you move on.
Oh, really?
It doesn't. No, it doesn't. No, it helps you process pain better. So the one losing my father at 14, I was able to. I can't say I have gone past it. I still carry the weight with me. I still carry the pain.
Yeah.
But then the thing is, it no longer hangs as heavy as it was in the early years when it happened. But then a part of me still feels like I delayed grief with the first death I experienced, the first loss I experienced. This thing people tell you. You should be strong. Don't let people clean your eyes at the burial. They could use juju on you. This, and that. So I kind of internalized all of that. So when the second one came, I let it go. At some point, I started asking myself if maybe I was cursed. Why is it that everybody who provides for you just dies at the exact moment when something major happens, like something big? I'm like, this person should have stayed on. Live for me. Why can't you stay? And it makes you ask questions you shouldn't be asking.
I know. Now we're getting to that part where you ask questions you shouldn't be asking. But before that, because I really want us to talk about the faith aspect. Yet I understand that we're humans, and that's why I'm doing this series, because I know we're being told in every circumstance to complain, to ask questions, just bear it. And I know it's okay to an extent, but I want us to relate to these things as normal human beings. So people who really are in it don't think that there are some aliens, somebody, your brothers, your sisters all over the world are passing through these things at this time. So I'm going to ask you, how did you, should I say, console yourself? We know the normal step-by-step thing to grief. There's the acceptance, denial, and all of that. For you, what has it been like step by step to this moment? Have you accepted it yet?
No.
Have you moved on?
Nah, you don't move on with grief. You go on with life, carrying the weight. I don't think you don't move on from grief. Grief isn't a person who annoys you and then you hate them. I mean, when you hate somebody, at some point it becomes indifference and then you forget them. But grief is there. It's just there, staring you in the face. Do whatever you want to do. I'm still here looking at you, so you have to deal with me. So for me, it has just been oscillating between extremes. Crying, hating myself, asking if maybe there was something I would have done better. Because I used when seeing Hollywood movies, and I would see characters feel guilty when somebody died. I used to think they were sissies until I felt the same thing. So I was asking, okay, you spoke to her 2-3 days before she died. Why didn't you ask for more? Okay, you said you repay her when it's time. Why didn't you buy her something cute, something nice to show your gratitude? And then for losing my dad, there was this incident. He was really ill. There was this particular day that I couldn't go help him with something fast enough. And he was really uncomfortable when I came around to do it. So for months after he died, I blamed myself for that. I mean, that incident, what happened that afternoon, it wasn't major. I just don't want to disclose it.
I understand.
What happened that afternoon was very minute detail. Maybe let's say he was feeling really hot, and I wasn't in time to fan him. So, but I kept looking at that thing. I kept thinking about it. So for me, I cry a lot. Although most of my crying is done in my room. I have never really subscribed to the idea of grieving publicly, but then it's an okay thing for people to do. So for me, I do a lot of crying, and then I do a lot of questioning, and then I try to make sense of what has happened, because people tell me it should be that way, but it isn't straightforward. And then I go back to crying again. So it's just been flipping from one point to the other, from one point to the other. It isn't stable. So I believe it should remain the same until I kind of come to terms with my reality. But then what it has done for me is it has given me clarity, kind of. As a teenager, I used to think, and I still believe to a certain extent, that I think there's this very, very wonderful thing that death does. Death unmasks people. It unmasks you as a person. It unmasks the people who are around you. Especially if this person, let's say, especially in a very, very male-centered society such as ours, the loss of a father figure is a big deal.
It is, I've heard.
It is a big deal because a lot of things in your life are going to change. And then you have to start, let's say if you're the kind of kid who went out with your father to events, you know, the usual family, they praise the father, tuoyafa, you know how all this works. You're expected to dumb yourself down. You're expected to, you know, you really don't have a say here anymore. It's just one of the, and then you see that people's attitude towards you change. The concessions they used to make for you because this person was present, they don't do it anymore. So it unmasks people. It shows you kind of who is true and who is not. Then at the same time, it makes you question your convictions, your reasons for doing things. If you were somebody who was I'm speaking as a teenager, like my experience as a teenager. If you're somebody who did things because of somebody, now that person is no longer there, you have to
create a new motivation.
I'm telling you, you have to tell yourself, okay, am I doing this for his memory, for him, or am I doing this because I am fulfilled by doing it alone? So I think it's a twofold thing, but then it's worse on the first, the horrible feeling. Especially if you're somebody who has been told all your life to never cry in public, never perform grief, wear your scapula, don't go out anyhow. You know how people are.
Yes.
I'm sure you completely relate.
I understand. Yes, I do. Okay. Talking about people and how they relate to you in situations like this, I'm going to talk about the church. You're Christian, yeah?
I was born Catholic.
Okay, great. So let's talk about your church now, because I think this is actually the representation of Christ here, right? This is where we run to sometimes when we need spiritual assistance, at least. So, what was the church like in your story, as far as this whole thing is concerned, right? How was it before and after? What was the church like? Tell me. I don't want to, bring up stereotypes, good, bad, blah, blah. Just let me know what it was like for you.
Church before I lost my dad was something I had to do because my father dragged me. I mean, as young as 11, we used to go for mass every single day. So, one morning, no, I was 10. I was 10 years old. I dressed up. I told him, Daddy, I am not going to church. That was my very first single act of rebellion. He asked me why, and I told him no. I just did not feel like. Of course, I got punished for it, though. But it didn't stop my ambivalence about church. But losing him made me come to terms with, okay, maybe you should do this because of a conviction that comes from inside. I was able to do that for a while until the second death broke me, and I'm currently in the process of it. But I want to talk about how people change, because I want to talk about a relative of mine, my mother wasn't, she was a very busy woman, so she would only do Sunday masses. But I noticed that after we lost our father, she started attending morning masses.
Oh, okay.
We started saying, I mean, we would just say regular, we would say the rosary like 2-3 times a week, but after his death, she would.
That's for daily.
Yeah, we used to say the rosary daily in my house now. But then the thing I try to make sense of how she felt. So I felt like, you know, the regular widowhood thing and how alienated you feel from a lot of people. So I mean, God is the only person who's not judging you. So it was the sensible thing to do, and it is still the sensible thing to do, because I mean that is how the woman makes sense of her world.
Okay.
That is how it makes sense of her world. But the church, I have had my misgivings. As a young girl growing up, I still have my misgivings. But one very funny thing, I was thinking about it a few days ago while reflecting, and I discovered that for all the grammar that I do, the only people who have been like steadfast and ready to help have been people who are affiliated with the church. So I try to think of the church as this kind of monument of strength that, okay, you can go away, do whatever you want, just know we're here, our arms are open, and we're ready to welcome you back. Because I got into a fix a few weeks ago, and somebody who helped me was actually a member of the villages.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, a member of the villages. Which, I mean, it surprised me, because I'm the sort of person who thinks that I think life is transactional. I know that's a very weird way, but I've always believed that life is very transactional. People do not do you good
Without expecting something.
Maybe they do it because they like the idea of being good people, or they do it because they see, okay, you are somebody who works hard, so I'm gonna help you. So it may not necessarily be that you're giving them something directly, but somebody who had never known me just, I mean, in a matter of hours, took care of it. So yeah, but the thing is, I see myself as that prodigal daughter that keeps going and coming, going and coming. I believe in the coming years I'll stabilize and make a choice.
Okay, so speaking of choices now, let's talk about, because when I was talking about the church and all of that, I was talking about the people in it. You know, we've had cases of people who, when they had sick parents or they had sick relatives, nobody from the church was doing anything, you know. But then eventually after death, they're all there looking for, you know, not in all cases. We've also had cases where it is the church that's been the backbone, you know. But I understand maybe that's not the case in your case. Maybe the church thing didn't really feature so much. Now let's go to your relationship with God, because this is a faith and grief series. I want to talk about your faith now. Yeah, this is it. And I'd like to know how this series of death, how they affected your relationship with God, personal relationship, no judgments here, not what we expect you to be like, what you have been battling, because someone is watching this and someone is actually battling or not, but I just want to know what it was like for you and what it still is like for you.
It felt like he kicked me out of the house and shut the doors on me.
That's God?
It felt like that. It still feels like that sometimes, but I made a request from him a few months ago, and he replied. And I'm like, okay, what's going on?
What's going on?
I didn't expect this.
Okay.
So as I said, I feel like I'm that prodigal daughter who's doing her own thing and we'll go back. But the faith thing, I just didn't want to deal with it, and especially when when you're grieving, you don't want to have any contact with people who remind you of those things. So the church is a central feature of who that person was, the person I lost.
Okay.
So going to church was a reminder that I couldn't deal with. I was doing 2 weeks on, 2 weeks in church, 2 weeks out of it. But still, it didn't work. I mean, weekends I would go to church, get the robes, iron them for readings, prepare myself for readings, and get up there and proclaim. But it wasn't enough. I'm not feeling it is a kind of very secular way to put it. It wasn't. There was this yearning for something that I couldn't get. So I decided to take a break. Yeah, and then I started using work to make up Sunday time. I mean, Sundays are like Sundays became my Mondays. Most of the work I was supposed to do within the week, I would do them on Sundays because I did not want to face the idea of church. So it gives me clarity because right now I'm questioning myself. Are you doing this because you want to please people, or are you doing this because you actually want to do it? So I'm evaluating my beliefs at the moment. I don't know where I'll end. I feel like it's the journey that it will come to a resolution at some point, but I do not know
What it will be.
what it will be. I do not know what it will be. So grief kind of gives you clarity.
Okay.
Makes you question things. I told you I felt like God threw me out of his house and locked the door on me. I asked questions. I mean, we are taught as Christians to not ask questions. I did. Sometimes I would like, okay, we live in a country that is all shades of depressing. And then something like this happens to somebody who is good. To not even somebody, to people who are good, who are kind. And then you ask yourself, why are you not punishing the people responsible for our suffering? Why does this have to happen to good people? I asked God that question. Why are you not punishing the people responsible for our suffering? Why does it have to be good people? So it made me even doubt the existence of God. Yeah. Because suffering doesn't make sense, especially human inflicted suffering. Yeah. Let's say you were born with a deformity, or you had, something just came up, your body decides to go rogue on you. That is understandable. But then when you see people do despicable things and get away with it, and then good people don't just last. It just throws you off balance. So grieving gave me clarity in the sense that whatever decisions I make from here on out, I know that they come from a place of conviction that this is exactly what I want, and I am not being propelled by anybody. So that is it at the moment.
I'm tempted to say, oh my God, how are we going to do this for you? But I loved how you said that this is whatever you do from now on is from within. Nobody wakes up tomorrow again to reconvince you, because now you know this is what you've chosen. And I pray by God's grace, just like he answered you some days ago, I hope somehow, no, honestly, I hope somehow this whole thing makes sense, and that somehow he leads you back to him. I mean, I'm for God, I'm Team God, so.
No, I understand. I do understand that.
Yeah, so I'm Team God, but it's okay. I totally understand, and I'm really sorry going through this. This is really difficult. I understand it's difficult for you doing this on camera, as a matter of fact. In this country where we're not allowed sometimes to be so vocal about things like this, you're doing this, and I appreciate you.
Oh, of course. Mm-hmm. I expect to get maybe a tongue lashing from my mom after this, but I am past.
And expect to get from some other persons who are in this shoe. You might have liberated so many people without you even knowing. So be concerned about that one.
Oh, I hope it helps. I hope I get people who feel like I do. It's just I just want it out.
Yeah.
The way we grieve is just very restrictive. Mm-hmm. I feel like grief is something people expect you to perform. In a way they want you. Now, people
like some ceremony.
Thank you. Okay, just the ceremony. Make sure you kill cows. If you are the wife of the man, make sure you throw yourself on the ground when you die, depending on the community. Mm-hmm. But then, if after everything you still do not feel, you still feel you don't get closure. People tell you, get over yourself. I was 14, I lost my dad, went back to school. I was getting, what even happened? I mean, I was top of the class, but then I would get like 4/10 or 5/10 quizzes. And one of my teachers said to me, you are not the only one that has lost a father.
Insensitive as it can sound.
So that is it. I mean, I don't know if he meant well, but that wasn't right. It is not something. It's not like clearing your room. You clear it and then it's done. It's like, how do I put it? Maintenance. It has to happen over time, and eventually get rid. But people here, we expect to, because of maybe because of how everybody's so focused on getting things right, getting things done, making sure you feel alright. They try to forget that you have to deal with this sadness, with this darkness inside you. And then when you see people unmasked, at first it comes as a shock. Okay, so people can be this bad. Okay, so people can be this kind. Yeah, because you see both sides.
Yeah.
You see, this is them. You see people who are very kind and very welcoming and very helping without good. By my estimation, people without good reason. And then people who are vile. I'm like, okay, so the only reason you pretended to be good to me was because this person is alive. So it comes as a shock, and I felt like grief made me mature. It made me understand the intricacies of human nature, kind of a bit. I'm no psychologist, you know. That things are not always as they seem. They're not always. So I feel like it's more. People should be given the freedom to grieve as much as they want to. And because people do not grieve the way
they should,
you expect them to. Does not mean that there's some people who have lived all their life being the rock for other people. Let's say maybe a man or who's the head of the family. I mean, he just wants to lock himself in his room and cry when maybe he loses a brother. But because he has a burial to plan, he shelves everything and focuses on the burial. So people should be allowed to grieve in the way that works for them. Not, you don't always tell people, stop, don't cry. I mean, at my father's burial, somebody asked me, why are you crying? No, it sounds strange. Yeah, somebody asked me, why are you? What do you mean? It's my father's burial. Why are you asking? Wow. Of course, I will cry if I want to cry. So you just have very quick, and then we tell you, if people could clean your face and use juju on you, and it's just.
That's a talk for another day, the juju thing. It's a talk for another day.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is. So quickly, because I think we've done this for a long time, and I love it, though. I'd like you to, if you can, I mean, I understand if you cannot at this point, but if you can, there's someone grieving, right? And maybe when you see this video again, it could be you telling you that, what words can you leave us with, or mostly people who are passing through, who this thing is really fresh in the memory at the moment? What words of consolation, words of encouragement, or whatever it is that you can leave them with? Parting words or something?
Parting words. Right now, the only thing going through my head are things I consider cliche, but I'm going to drop it because I feel like that is the only sensible thing. Go through it. Go through it. Go through the emotions. And of course, always have something to fall back on. Have something that gives your life meaning. It could be God. It could be work. It could be the community of people you have around you. It could be your family. I mean, sometimes families become closer because they lose somebody. So just go through it, and at the same time find that sense. Find that sense of belonging somewhere. Work, God, however. But it's going to be alright, but not very soon. Because it's going to be alright, but not very soon. And you will always carry it with you till the day you die. I believe so. I mean, I lost a parent almost 10 years ago. I still am affected by it. Because I think, what if this person were alive? Or maybe you have a major win. You have a major win, then you want this person to be there to celebrate this with you, but they're not there. So it will follow you through. I mean, tomorrow, if something big also happens to me, I may cry because I lost a parent more than 10 years ago. So it never leaves you. You just have to go through it in your own way. But please do not go to extremes. Don't self-destruct.
Don't self-destruct. Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Chidera, for doing this with me. I really appreciate you.
Thank you to Amanda.
Okay, so I was going to comment on your dress, but let's leave. Your dress, actually, I love it. Just this flowery thing. And when you talked about the rebellion, I remember Chimamanda Adichie's Pop-Up Hibiscus, where Jaja was saying, "No, I'm not going to receive Holy Communion today." And I was like, oh my God.
Okay, I related. I related to that book on so many levels. Not only Jaja's story, then.
Huh.
Yeah.
Let's not talk politics. And look at that, she's even a graduate of literature. So, I mean, look at that. All right, thank you so much, Chidera, for being this with me.
Thank you to Amanda.
All right, and I love your dress. I was going to say that. Did I say that? Thank you so much for joining us on this particular episode. And remember, I told you, I am just out to listen to people talk about their grief journey or loss journey, right? Hoping that someone watching this is getting closure somehow. I don't know. It's not in my place to rush these things. And also, I just want to know what it's like for you and God and your relationship with Him afterwards, especially when you've lost someone and all of that, because this will help other people know that they're not alone. And hopefully we find people who have graduated from the questioning and who have made a final decision. That's what I'm doing on this series, and I hope this heals, this helps you, and I appreciate you. Do not forget to comment, leave a comment, react on various posts on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, and even on YouTube. Feel free to search for Faith on the Street. Drop your comments, react, share, and even subscribe to our YouTube channel. Faith on the Street, my story, your story, this story. It's all about you, me, and all of us. Thank you once again, Chidera, for doing this with me.
Thank you too.
I'll never get tired of saying thank you. All right, join us for our next episode on the same series. All right, Faith on the Street. Do not touch it. Oh, Amanda Elo is my name.